Hey everybody, welcome back to another precision farming video. So now that I have harvested for the first time on this no man's land map, I accumulated almost 26,000 wheat and 7,000 canola. And that was on fields, the first couple fields that I created. The one on the bottom that I just harvested was wheat. The one on the top of the number 36 I just harvested was canola. Now the wheat was pretty good. Almost 26,000 and also a little over 26 straw bales. That's pretty good. And the soil types for the wheat was sandy loam and loam. Imagine if that had all been loam, how much more awesome that wheat harvest would have been. It probably would have jumped it up to probably 35,000 just for that little area compared to what 26,000 to what I have now. Might have even jumped it up to 40,000, and it also affects straw. The soil type, depending on the crop type, if it's a crop type that produces straw, the soil type will affect how much straw you get as well. So if that had been all loam with my wheat, or barley, by the way, I'm pretty sure barley and wheat work the same way, I estimate I would have got 40 bales of straw and about 40,000 to 42,000 wheat. Just in that little area on the left. Not the one on the right. The one on the right has corn in it. Let me show you. And that is still growing, and it will be ready to harvest soon, as well as the sunflowers, as well as the soybeans, the little tiny area of soybeans there under the S in sawmill. And the soil types for sunflowers, I believe, is loamy sand. Now this is where it really gets tricky. See the loamy sand where the canola was planted, where I just harvested? Because I just harvested canola to the left. Here it still shows the fruit type, but it has been harvested, as you can see. Now the point that I'm making is, now we go to the pH value, and the pH value for sunflowers, I can't remember what it is. I believe that's the range we want. So I'm not going to want to add any more lime. Or maybe I should add just a little bit of lime. I don't want to add too much. Maybe I should wait another crop rotation before I add more lime, because every crop harvested digs into the lime and also subtracts from the nitrogen, as we'll see right here. Now the nitrogen level, where the canola once was, it was around 140 to 160. Now after it's harvested, up there, I'm talking about the field up there above the number 36 and a little bit to the left, it is sitting at like zero, maybe flat out zero nitrogen. So if I want to plant sunflowers there again, I'm only going to need one fertilization step to do that. And I think, because, here's the thing, because it's seasons, well, let me turn off the engine, I'm consuming gas. Because it is seasons, I have to wait for this planting season of sunflowers again, all the way until the beginning of the middle of spring, the very end of the early spring, beginning of middle spring. So when the soil temperature and the planting is going to be correct for sunflowers. And like I said, I only need one layer of fertilization as nitrogen. What I plan on doing is planting oilseed radish. Let me drive the tractor over there to show you exactly what I mean. Drop this trailer off on the way. Oilseed radish, all here. And then I plow it out again one more time. And then plant after the oilseed radish matures. Next spring, plow it out. And with that one step, it'll be perfectly fertilized. Perfectly fertilized for loamy sand, for sunflowers. The harmony of the perfect nitrogen, the perfect pH value, the perfect seed type for the soil type, and the soil type itself with the proper nitrogen that the seed type needs, I think is going to work really nicely. That's my plan for this field. Now over here, let me look on the map first. Let us look. Now we're going to look at the field below the number 36 to the left. The nitrogen, I believe, is around 40. I'm going to plant canola there because, and I'm going to do that next, today actually. And the reason I'm ready to do that today is because it's only the second crop for this field since it was made. And in crop rotation, I need to change a couple things. Here I was going to plant a canola and then go to wheat, but then I realized, no, that's loamy sand. Wheat does terrible in loamy sand. You want wheat in sandy loam or loam. You can plant it in loamy sand, but it's going to be terrible. Loamy sand just doesn't grab the nutrients and the nitrogen needed for wheat. So like I said, I'm going to change this to, if it'll let me, I guess you're not able to put oilseed radish. So I'm going to change that to sunflowers instead of oilseed radish. The sunflowers will be assumed. Now, even though it's a 0.9, that's not too bad, but I will still get a bonus to the yield for the sunflowers because I'm taking the time to do it. I'm going to add the oilseed radish and then replow that field, this field over here that I'm talking about, the one above the 36 on the left, for the crop rotation to make sense. And you also may ask, why don't I just plant grass? Well, I'm not ready for a mower yet. I'm not ready for cows. I'm not ready for anything. The only thing I'm really ready for if I was to is maybe pigs or chickens. Pigs, I'm thinking I'm going to be looking pretty cool to have as one of my first animal types, plus chickens, because of all the corn that I have planted to the right. But back to what I was saying, I think sunflowers is going to be best. To the field up to the far left of the 36 because of the yield, not the yield. The soil type is perfect for sunflowers, which is loamy sand, in my opinion. I'm pretty sure I'm correct. The pH value so far could be a little bit better, but it's okay. I don't want to add too much lime. I got to be careful. We got to be careful. When we add lime, you're affecting future crops. You got to make sure that you're understanding which crop is next in the rotation. Then you got to look at your pH values. And then you got to look at your nitrogen values. And you got to think, how many times do I need to fertilize before I plant this crop? Is it best to have it perfectly fertilized while planting it or perfectly fertilized before planting it? In which case, a lot of our seeders and planters have the way to fertilize and plant at the same time. I think that game has changed. It might be even better just to have a seeder or a planter that just plants seeds only and get your fertilizing, your nitrogen, and your lime done ahead of time. That's what I think. That is a good strategy. So I just wanted to kind of like go over what I've learned so far with precision farming, with seasons, on Start From Scratch, and what I have found out. Now, if I had a big mower, and I wanted to make myself a little more productive, I would probably plant grass here, because as far as I know, I think grass grows everywhere. And I would add a layer of fertilization with the seeder for the grass, and then maybe fertilize it after the fact with some manure or some slurry. I don't know what the pH and the nitrogen values are for grass, the pH values and the nitrogen values needed for grass to grow properly in a field that you've created. I'm not going to be talking about grass that just grows naturally without a field. Grass that grows within a field, you may ask, why am I not doing that yet? Well, first of all, I have not researched it enough yet. I don't know what the pH and the nitrogen values, and I'm not that bold yet to do that, because there's people watching this YouTube channel, and they want real information, and I can respect that. So what I give you here is information that I found out, which I think might be mostly correct. Other people might find different ways of doing things that are better than what I'm saying. I'm not saying that what I'm saying is the best way to do it. It's just what I found out, what I think is the best way to do it. It's a scientific method, using logical thinking and doing some research on soil types, seeds, and soil types, and the seeds which work best based on the nitrogen to begin with. You got to take that into account as well. Whenever you create a brand new field, there's going to be nitrogen in the field from the plowing in the first place. But I believe there are some plows in the game that will plow out the field and not fertilize. That may be advantageous now with precision farming, which has been unforeseen. There's been some happy accidents, some happy discoveries with this new mod, and I think it's great. I think they've done a really good job with this. So I think that is going to be the end of this video for now. I wanted to discuss some irregularities that I have discovered that I was wrong about before. Earlier, I believe I said that soybeans was best in the soil type called sandy loam and loam. Actually, turns out I believe soybeans is best in loamy sand. I know, right? Maybe even silty clay, depending on if silty clay was used beforehand, let's say for some potatoes or for some sugar beets, and then the silty clay after the harvest of the sugar beets and potatoes. Okay, you don't follow me now. Bear with me here. And then you do a reading after the harvesting in the silty clay of those root crops, and you look at it, and it says 20 nitrogen or 40 nitrogen, and you say to yourself, wow, you know what? 40 and 20 nitrogen is perfect for soybeans. And loamy sand and silty clay are kind of mixed together a little bit. That's the scale. Loamy sand leads to silty clay. Silty clay leads to loamy sand. The root crops are good in silty clay, but they're also good in loamy sand. So if you think about that, after the harvest, if silty clay has a 20 to 40 range with nitrogen, you know that the next crop rotation could be soybeans without a fertilization, just straight up planting them with the nitrogen that's in the ground. And this is just an example. You could also maybe do it in loam, I don't know, or sandy loam. The nitrogen values is what matters most. That is key to precision farming. And this video is not scripted. This is me talking to you about what is on my mind as I learn and I go with seasons with precision farming. And what I'm saying is not necessarily accurate. This is just what I believe is the best way to go, if you've watched my other videos. Alright, everybody, you have a great day.